Welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. Pleased to have on for the first time Mike Posner, the Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter who just completed a walk across America from New Jersey to this state of California, and the Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter right here with a, by the way, new album, Keep Going, has been released earlier this month with his new song, Nothing Is Wrong, which is a reflection of his walk. Good to see you, sir, right here on the program.
Thank you for having me, Rich.
Now, I'm mandated to ask this question, and I know that we normally do this anyway. We sent a car for you to come here, correct?
That's right.
You did not walk here to the studio.
No,
okay,
no,
I
no.
Make sure. All right.
Yeah, that's right, man. I walked enough this year.
I want to make sure that we took care of you.
Send me that.
Very good.
So I think it was a Lincoln MKZ. I was in the back, legs stretched out.
So why did you do what you did, Mike?
I really wanted to be somebody I was actually proud of. You know, I wanted, if somebody said, you know, who inspires you or who's your hero, who you look up to, I wanted to be able to look them in the eye and say me. And this walk, it just called to me. I think a lot of people watching know what it's like to have something that you know you're supposed to do. You're called to it. You're pulled towards it. And most of us think of some sort of reason why we can't do it or reason why we're going to do it later. Mm-hmm. And my contention is, you know, 95% of those reasons are actually excuses. And I made excuses for about 5 years, and then I realized, hey man, you know, you're gonna die one day. You're either gonna do this walk before then or not. And
well, but you're a 31-year-old guy who has a great list of accomplishments already at this age. Not to get too deep and turn this into maybe a therapy session, but why did you feel like this walk was necessary for you to say that you've accomplished something, or that you're proud of what you've been able to accomplish?
Sure,
Mike?
it's not that I felt I had no accomplishments before that I'm not proud of any of those accomplishments. You know, Grammy nomination, or you know, popular songs, or you know, all my albums I'm very proud of. I put a lot of hard work into those, but it just had a feeling, an inkling that there was more inside me. And I think a lot of people know what it's like to feel like, hey man, I just got more to offer and not really know what to do with it. So I had this inkling, you know, there's a little more in me. Let me see if I could pull this thing off. And I went out there and I found out I was actually wrong. There's a lot more in me. And so now my job is to just figure out, you know, how to keep exploring that, you know, and I always say, keep going, name a new mixtape, keep going. Mm-hmm. And that was our motto out there, because, you know, you get to Kansas, that's a big accomplishment, but now you got to get Colorado. Keep going, you know?
Well, certainly if you start in New Jersey, as you did, and, you know, you got a New Jerseyite over there, and my sound guy, Mike Del Tufo, my audio executive.
What up, though? Okay. Audio executive.
Yeah, he spins some tunes on Friday nights, so he always loves having musicians and songwriters like yourself here.
Yeah.
Asbury Park, New Jersey is where you started. Is that a Springsteen inspiration?
Yeah, I was looking at, you know, all these places on the East Coast where I could possibly start. The most important thing was, you know, my walk actually, not to nitpick you, but it wasn't New Jersey to Cali, it was ocean to ocean.
Okay.
And so it was important for me to be able to start with my feet in the water. Now, some places like New York City, man, hey, you can't really put your feet in the water.
That is true.
So I was
you could get arrested for that sort of thing,
I was looking for a place where I could get in the water, and I was looking at all these cities on the map. I didn't recognize any of them except for Asbury Park because of the boss.
No kidding.
Sure. Yeah, I like the boss, man.
Okay, so he wasn't in town when you started.
I was trying to get some. I was posting like, "Hey, if anyone knows Bruce Springsteen, tell him to come walk with me." He never came, but it was worth a try.
But it's still a great spot to start.
It was cool. I know. I read his book. You know, he did his autobiography, and I recognized a lot of the little cities, Freehold and stuff from his book. So it was kind of cool.
Mike Posner here on the Rich Eisen Show, the Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter who completed a walk across America. And so, look, Bruce might not have seen your tweet or your Instagram feed, but millions of people did. And you went across. Who did you meet? I mean, who did you end up meeting on this trip that made it even more significant?
I met Americans, and especially at the beginning, you see a lot of the Revolutionary War monuments. You see a lot of the old graveyards. I'm talking about graveyards where some tombstones you can't even see the writing anymore. Just a little stone is because they've sunk so far. And you feel a lot of pride meeting these very kind people who don't know who I am, but they're pulling their car over to make sure I don't need a ride or make sure I have water. And I felt a lot of pride to be American and meeting people like that in Illinois and Indiana. And then I kept walking, I kept walking across the Rocky Mountains, across Colorado. I eventually walked across the Navajo Nation. I walked across in Arizona. It actually spans 4 states. And I met people like Al Largo or Alex Pachowski Begay, who explained to me kind of what's going on their reservation, how their water's poisoned because of a mine, a uranium mine that our country's put there. And I felt actually shame. And for me, doing this walk, being American is feeling pride and shame at the same time.
And when you walked, were you walking on just thoroughfares, streets, or highways? Were you literally walking on the side of an interstate at some point in time?
Good question. It's illegal to walk on interstate, so I try to break as few laws as possible on the walk.
Right.
But there was one time I got permission it was in California, from CHP to do like a 4-mile stretch on the interstate. But other than that, I was mostly on like U.S. highways or state highways.
Right.
And then a lot of times I get kind of lost in back roads and into the woods and national parks, that kind of thing. But definitely a lot of walking on highways. The walk across America is that. There's an Appalachian Trail and PCT. Those are beautiful trails. If you can walk across, you're going to basically almost get hit by a car every day.
You could be very careful, right? And where'd you lay your head? Did you stay in any hotels?
Yeah, I had a support vehicle.
Okay.
So I had a buddy with me, and he would go ahead of me, basically 8 miles, and I'd catch up. And usually we would sleep in that. There were the more interesting parts, the Rocky Mountains, the Mojave Desert, things like that. It couldn't drive there the roads weren't in good enough condition, so I'd sleep in a tent on those parts. Those are the best parts.
What you'd carry on your back? Is that what you were doing?
We would have like a Land Cruiser kind of. We switch vehicles. So I didn't backpack. I would like to be clear about that. I walk supported because there are people out there right now walking unsupported who are more amazing than me. They put it all on their back. Yeah.
Mike Posner here on the Rich Eisen Show. At Mike Posner is how people follow this on Twitter and on Instagram. Then you get to Colorado and you met up with a rattlesnake.
That's
and this
right.
is what definitely went most viral on social media as you were going through this. Bit by a rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Did you see it? Did you not? Did you hear it?
No. Basically, the only time you really get bit by a rattlesnake is if you surprise it or sneak up on it, and that's what I unfortunately did. I never saw it, and so.
But you felt it.
I felt a bite on my leg. Honestly, it wasn't more painful than the pain I was feeling in my feet at the time, but my brain went, "You just got bit. I wonder what bit me." And then right after I had that thought, I heard shh, and I went, "Oh man, I know what that noise is."
You could probably finish that noise with an IT. So then did you call? What did you do? You had a cell phone on you, I imagine, right? So
we were in the middle of nowhere. So basically, I was 30 miles from the last town, about 60 from the next town, and
damn, Mike,
we didn't have any service. There was a gentleman walking with me that day. Who came? He heard about the journey, just came out, wanted to walk with me, and he ran to the road a little bit.
Right.
And he was able to get a bar service, called 911, and the dispatch lady was speaking to me. She said, "Look, we're sending 2 ambulances to you in a helicopter. Whatever gets there first, get in there." And I said, at first I just felt like I got stung by a strong bee, but then about 5 minutes later, that poison started to go through me. And
how did that feel?
It felt like remember the Looney Tunes at the end, the circle gets smaller and smaller, and they say, "That's all, folks."
Right.
It felt like that with my consciousness was just it was black coming in, closing in on me. And that's when I realized, hey man, you didn't get stung by a bee, man. And I asked her on the phone, I said, am I going to survive? And she said, I'm not sure, sir. So, come to find out, most people get bit by snakes in America. They get the help they need and they survive. And
Well,
that's what happened to me.
You're not in so far away from help. So what did get first, an ambulance or the helicopter?
The ambulance took me to a hospital.
Okay.
They basically pumped me up with the anti-venom. And then the doctor came in and said, hey, look, man, I think you're going to need more. And we gave all of ours to you, all our medicine. So then they put me in a chopper, took me to another hospital. And that was kind of fun, actually. Yeah, that was kind of fun.
Okay. I mean, wow. So, and we saw that you were rehabbing. It took you 5 days to get back on your feet? And then you started walking again?
It took me 5 days to get out of the hospital, So the first time I couldn't even walk to the bathroom. You go from 24 miles a day to 0. And then they gave me a walker. They taught me how to use that. And eventually I got discharged. I went home to Michigan, and I just started, basically I could one day walk to the bathroom, then the kitchen, then I would walk to my neighbors and down the street and just built it back up to eventually got up to around 30 miles a day. But yeah, I was out for 3 weeks total.
So then why did you give any consideration to not continuing your walk and finishing?
Yeah, no. When I started this thing, I told the public I'm going to walk across America, but that's not what I said to myself. What I said to myself was I'm going to walk across America no matter what. And I think, as you well know, anything worthwhile in life is going to be hard and things are going to go wrong on the journey towards it. So I had already visualized myself succeeding, yes, but I actually also visualized myself going through really hard times. I had visualized myself breaking my leg. What are you going to do? And I knew, I used to tell my friends, hey, if I break my leg, I'll go back to that spot after I'm healed and I'll finish my walk. I'm walking no matter what. And so when things did go wrong, I got bit by a snake. I'm in the hospital. I didn't have to negotiate with myself. I didn't have to rethink, hey, maybe it's not meant to be, which is really code for I'm giving up. I just knew I was walking no matter what. And so once I healed, I was going to go back to that spot where I got bit, and I was going to keep going. You
did? So you went back to that, to spot X?
Exact spot. It was terrible. I was very scared. I didn't want to go back there, but it was important for me to, for my walk to have integrity, to have no breaks in my walk.
So you went back to that spot,
yeah,
and then you finished.
That's right.
What was it like for you when you reached Venice, California, and you put your feet in the Pacific Ocean?
Oh man, that's one of the best moments of my life, and it was so special because there were not all the people, but many of the people I really loved that loved me. They were there, and I just felt like I had tapped into a part of myself I didn't really know was there, or I had a intuition there was there, but I found out it was really there. And I didn't feel done. It felt good, but I also just felt more excited that, hey man, if you could do this, what else could you do? And now when I look at life's buffet, it's a lot more choices there, So that's I think what felt so good about it.
And what did you learn from it?
Shoot, I learned a lot of things. I think we talked about some of them already. One, any contract you set with yourself, got to have a no matter what clause in it. I learned that, when you go through real pain, it hurts to walk across America every day. That's where you find real strength. And most of us, myself, I spent probably the first 30 years of my life trying to make it as comfortable as possible. And hey, all like the peace of mind, the sense of security in myself, that was all on the other side of a lot of pain and suffering and discomfort. And so I learned not to be so afraid of pain, discomfort. A lot of us, we want to be comfortable all the time, and before we know it, we're living a very small life. And I learned there's a lot outside of that sandbox.
Well, man, congratulations on what you learned about yourself, and you go through it, and you hit that that fork in the road with the Rattlesnake, and you get back out there and you complete your walk across America. Congrats on your new album, Keep Going, and then the song Nothing Is Wrong.
Thank you.
You are welcome, and I appreciate you coming on here to give the exclusive to the Rich Eisen Show. Mike Posner is going to walk across South America next. He's about to, no?
Nah. But so I got some ideas.
What is your next challenge? Do you have one?
I got some ideas, but no plans yet.
No.
And so I don't want to say. I'm not gonna say something unless I'm sure I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
You know.
Europe?
I'm not gonna say something
okay.
yet.
All right. Try to do it. Congratulations, brother.
Hey, thanks, Rich. Go Blue, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You're a Michigander, correct?
I'm a Michigander, and I went to Duke University.
I know that.
I like that blue too. I like both those blues.
Okay.
My dad went to Michigan.
You know what? You are somebody that I can't even dispute that, because I'm not, and what you've just told me about what you've learned and about how divided our country might be, but yet it's all together. Normally, hearing somebody say I like Michigan and Duke would be very strange for me, but I'm going to accept it from you, Mike Posner, because you have taught me the better of my ways. Just having this conversation. At Mike Posner on both Twitter and Instagram to follow more from this man. We are back to learn what's going on in the NFL trade deadline world while we had this great conversation. That's next on The Rich Eisen Show.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live, or download the Rich Eisen Show app.